Welcome to the Agile Wire. Brought to you by Wisconsin Agility. We want you to get agile and stay agile. Now here are your hosts, Jeff Bubolz and Chad Beier.
And we're recording. All right, kick us off, Jeff.
All right, we have Mary Iqbal joining us on the podcast again. So Mary's also a professional Scrum trainer, just like Chad and I, here in Wisconsin. And Mary runs the Scrum Day conference here in Madison. First annual one was last year, and we're going to have the second one coming up here in not too long. So Mary, you started a conference when other conferences were really struggling. So Agile Alliance just put an article a couple months ago, and they talked about how their ticket sales year over year have been going down, and they're somewhere like around 30% below where they normally are at this time of year. And just talking about how it's been really tough to run this conference, as that's their major fundraiser for the year. And in the midst of all that, and after COVID, where people are like, I just maybe want to be all virtual, you start a conference. So why is Scrum Day so different, and how are you making this work?
Well, maybe that was a foolish decision to make on my part, but the reason I did it is because I wanted to hear from the speakers that I thought really added value, right? And so I went to a conference, and I was less than impressed with the speakers, not the speakers themselves, but it felt that the conference was not. Forgive me for saying this. They didn't really mean it, right? And so, for me, I wanted to treat the conference like this is a product, right? And so I used all the tools of the trade that we actually train about, right? So I took a step back and I asked, what is my product? And I filled out the business model canvas. I created a vision for what I'm trying to deliver here. I created personas and I interviewed them and I asked them, what do you want to hear about in a conference? And then from there, I developed the theme. And then I went out and looked for the speakers like you that I felt would add the most value, that people really want to hear from. And so this year's conference is about delivering products. And the reason that is selected is because I feel like it's tragic when so many organizations go agile with the best of intentions, and then they silo their teams in these really narrow chains that really just slows them down from value delivery. Instead of empowering them, they're saying, we're going to make it so you have to request work from 5 other teams anytime you want to get anything done. How's that for you? And so I realize I'm kind of changing the subject here, but bringing it back, I'm trying to talk about the things that matter, that really matter to people. So it's not about the conference, it's about the problem that we're trying to solve. And that goes back to when you roll out Agile, taking that step back and ask, what's a problem we're trying to solve?
Yeah, that's great. And I think the product space is where we need the most work, like from an industry standpoint, like we've historically, like you said, done things around projects, and can Scrum or anything Agile help in a project? Absolutely. But you're not getting, the top end return on investment that you probably could get if you're aligned around products and you had long-lived product definitions that were broad and really around value delivery. And so I love that we're focusing on that, because that is the next step. There's, always been these like talk titles that have been out there that people like to poke fun of Scrum and Agile and be like, Scrum is dead or Agile is dead or whatever. And it's not. It's more just needs to be aligned about the right thing, right? Something that people care about, the value delivery.
Right. Absolutely. When people say Agile is dead, I look back to the State of Agile, report. And I forget the exact numbers, but the growth during COVID was astonishing, really just astonishing. They doubled the usage of Agile across the board in every category. And then after COVID was over and we all went back to the office, there was a slight step back. But it didn't go all the way back to pre-COVID levels, right? I think that's what's important. It looks a lot like a change curve. People tried it. Some of them were taking a little step back. We're not sure about this, but I think they're going to come back, because this Agile is a tool, right? It's just good business. I mean, there might be a speaking topic on that, right? I mean, at the conference, just saying, it is it's the right tool for the job.
It is, yeah. And that is our talk title for this year. It's at Agility. It's just good business. And really what we keep talking about is like, if you're to run a company, imagine it's your own money. Like if you could mitigate risk, increase the frequency of value returned, learn very, very fast, have high level of transparency, and change often as market conditions are changing, like that's a pretty good strategy for winning in any business, no matter what it is, right? And that's what Agile and agility enables. And Scrum's a very popular framework that can give you all the things necessary to deliver on that value prop. But it takes the hard work to actually align it around the right thing. I think that probably one of the more common things that we see is people align Scrum around something that's just kind of always been there because it's easy. And it takes hard work to change the structures if you want to have a real change happen. So the reason you're doing it is because you want something different, but then you got to do something different, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So like one of the things that, and I know you have happening in this conference is you've got speakers from all over the place. Like, tell us about some of the speakers that you have. And like, you've got people coming from Europe, you got people coming from different parts of the United States, and they're all coming here to Madison, Wisconsin, which is not typical, right? You're kind of the one person doing this and bringing people into this area for this great conference.
I know. You know what it is? It's kind of like I went shopping for speakers and I went overboard, right? And I do it every year because I'm just like, oh, I want to hear from them. I want to hear from them. And, I probably need to not get so excited. So I've got you all. I think you're going to be fantastic. Todd Miller's coming in and he's talking about is it working, right? So you've defined products. Yeah, you've rolled out your teams. Now you need to be measuring outcomes, right? Not just how many tickets. So once you've defined those products, changing the mindset from, okay, they closed 50 tickets. That's great, to, okay, how are they really impacting customer outcomes? So really measuring that really goes along with this idea of products, right? Gunther Verheyen is going to be traveling right from all the way across the world. He's the author of a pocket guide for Scrum, and he's going to be talking about how products should be front and center. And then I've got a lot of speakers from local companies. So Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota is coming. They're going to talk about incremental delivery, and I'm really excited about their activities that they've got. I've actually not done these activities, so I think you should check out their speech. I'm excited about it. And then we have Exact Sciences is coming. So they're going to be talking about this idea, what you referenced earlier, Jeff, taking the organization from projects to products. So that's a really exciting one. Space Force, I got to be honest, I'm geeked out about Space Force. They were my first speaker that I signed up. I'm pretty sure they were the very first speaker because, who doesn't want to hear from Space Camp? Did you watch that movie as a kid? Come on. You know you did. Okay, so he doesn't exactly work that way, but still cool. Mm-hmm. So lots of great speakers. I could go on and on, but I'm really thrilled about the lineup this year. And I think that it's going to be, I'm trying to tell the story of products, right? Starting from Agile's good business to, okay, how do you define those products, to products should be front and center. And then taking the organization from projects to product, and then making sure we're measuring value. So there is actually a story. There's a storyline within the conference that I hope comes across.
So, Mary, we kind of covered what the conference is, and it sounded, being there last year, it sounded similar. But I'm curious for those maybe listening who did attend last year, and they're wondering what's going to be different this year. What's going to be different?
Great question. So last year's theme was around teams and making sure that we're empowering the teams. This year's theme is definitely different. It's more about products. And we're actually doubling down on the interactivity. So last year we had liberating structures, which is coming back too. But we're doing a little bit more bold of a keynote this year in terms of taking kind of a risk. We're actually going to practice defining products. Well, it's going to be, it's a different kind of a thing. So it's going to be exciting there. And we are also bringing in more local companies because that was really popular. So Exact Sciences coming, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota. We've also got WPS Health Solutions. So local companies are going to be speaking. And we're really taking it from team empowerment to, okay, what are they delivering? Right? We've got these great empowered teams, but they need to be empowered to deliver something. So the theme is different. The conversation is different. And yeah, I brought back my favorite speakers, right? So you're going to be there, right? We're going to have Gunther Verheyen. Actually, Stephanie's joining us this year, which I'm truly excited about. So she's definitely new.
Stephanie Ackerman. Yep.
Right. Yeah, she's fantastic. I love her book, Mastering Professional Scrum. I just think it's great. She's a co-author of that book, and I think it was really well written.
Yep. And then Amber Fields, she teaches the capstone class at UW-Madison and also has been an executive at a local company. So she'll be there. I saw her on the list.
That's right, Tracy Mass.
And she'll be talking about her book, right? She wrote a book too. I'm trying to remember the title of it. Agile Discovery and Delivery. So a lot about the discovery practices, which I mean, we know a lot of teams need help with and are always learning about. So she'll be a great speaker.
I think she'll be fantastic. And Functionaire is going to be there, who's going to be talking about the customer journey mapping. So I feel like we have a stronger focus, not only on products, but also product ownership and what are the tools that those product owners need to deliver value. So I'm very excited about that.
And one of the things we found going there is, we are all connected in a community and we've met different people through relationships, through meetups, through employment opportunities. And I think a lot of people have that same type of thing going on. And when you go there and you see those people and you haven't seen them for a while, it's kind of like just old friends reconnecting. And that can just be inspiring in itself. So I'm just really happy that we have that in our area because there's so many people that are doing Agile stuff in Wisconsin and in the Midwest. And, we work together. We're a small group. It's great to learn from each other and great to just have those one-off conversations in the hallway at lunch, beforehand. That was one of my favorite parts of last year. It was just reconnecting with so many people.
I am so glad to hear that. I got to tell you, that makes me very happy. When I first moved to Madison, I'm actually from Texas. And when I first moved up here, people told me it's a small world. Right. And it really kind of is. And so it's wonderful to see people that you haven't seen in a while and reconnect, build those connections or rebuild those connections after COVID. Right. That was part of the reason also going back to your question, why are you doing this when conference sales are down? Part of it was to get back out there after COVID and rebuild those connections.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what are you doing in the product space these days, Mary?
So I gotta be honest with you. This probably won't make the recording. I'm not really doing anything. I'm watching tragedies unfold, actually, to be honest with you. So I'm being brought. I was brought in for this no name. I'm not gonna mention company. And I was doing the training after a big box consultant, and they had chained their people down into these little silos, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be sad, Like it was pretty sad to see that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm watching tragedies unfold and doing what I can to help them, even though I know they're going to be changed down and spending 50% of their time managing dependencies. The product owners will be spending all of their time getting on each other's roadmaps. It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
So I'm also working on my book too, by the way. I wrote a book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
awesome. Illustrated Scrum Myths. I love cartoons. So you may have noticed I have somebody doing cartoons at the conference because I love it. I think it tells a story. So I wrote a book with a bunch of Scrum myths and little pictures and cartoons and stuff. So I'm finishing that up. I got to ask you, I'm curious, what are you doing around the product space lately?
Yeah, so we've done a few different things. We've run some experiments. We've launched some new classes. We've tried some different pricing models within our classes. We've actually been doing a lot of workshops too. So we've kind of come up with a few of our own workshops that we've run custom for people. We've been running a lot of product owner courses for some larger organizations that, they just have a lot of product owners and, maybe their product divisions are where they want to go, but they need help getting there. And so we've been trying to increase the product knowledge inside the organization. We've got a really fun client right now that's in the healthcare space. They're very large, and they're using Scrum to save millions and millions of dollars in the healthcare space, and they're non-programmers. So there's no one writing any code here. And that's been really exciting and really fun because we just see huge outcomes happening. And so I think that's another emerging space, like using Agile outside of software development. So there's just a lot. Anytime you're in a complex space, if you can deliver something incrementally and then you can learn fast, they're used to sometimes 18-month, 2-year projects that maybe deliver some value, and they're like, hey, week 1, we're going to deliver something of value, even if it's for one person, even if it's for one department, like we're going to deliver something, and then we're going to figure out how to expand it throughout the system. Like that's a pretty big change, right? And just culture. And so that's been really exciting for us. We've really enjoyed that client.
That is wonderful. That is so exciting. Changing the world for the better, honestly, is really what we do here.
Yeah.
I actually did work with a client recently who's using Scrum in healthcare in a way that I think is really exciting, honestly. They're using Scrum, in the operating theater, actually. So, before an operation, they get together with the folks who've cleaned the room, the staff who cleaned the room, with also the doctor and the nurses, and they have a Scrum right before the surgery happens to make sure they're ready to rock with it. They're also using it on some of their community programs as well to make sure that local community leaders are talking with doctors and making sure that communications about diabetes care are actually getting out to the community. So this is actually a small hospital actually in Saudi Arabia that's using Scrum to make the world better. And so that's what I love to see is this idea of, I do feel that when we talk to each other within this framework of Scrum that helps us know how to talk to each other, that we can make the world better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had another startup client in Silicon Valley that was a fun one to work with too, because they were very, very mature in the product space, but they had problems with like consistency, and they're growing, and like how do we have frequent delivery, and how do we know what we're doing, and like some of the technical things that were constraints. So it was very different challenges, but it was also very fun to see a group that like just different culture, right? When you deal with people from different areas, and we learned stuff and they learned stuff from us, and it was another great partnership. So we have a case study coming out pretty soon on that one. So there'll be more details to come on that.
Awesome. Sounds exciting. I can't wait to see it.
All right, Mary, at this time, is there anything you want to plug or promote other than the conference?
I just want to say I hope to see you all at Scrum Day, actually. I'm very excited about it. Scrum Day is scheduled for October 23rd, 2024 in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin, which, by the way, October is a beautiful, beautiful time to come to Wisconsin. For anyone who's coming from out of town, I strongly suggest you swing by the Arboretum, take a look at the foliage. It's beautiful this time of year. But in any case, join us at Scrum Day on October 23rd. Get your tickets at www.scrumday.org.
If you found value in today's episode, share this with a friend. Until next time, get agile and stay agile.